Welcome to the second episode of Unlocking the New Testament, Ancient Hebrew Gems You Never Knew Existed. In each episode, we are attempting to uncover one Hebrew gemstone hidden in the New Testament, which is outlined in my new book, The One Greater Than Moses, David, and Solomon is Here, and it is available on Amazon. In the previous episode, we have dealt with the first verse from the Gospel of Matthew, which is called the first gospel in the New Testament. But did you know that there's also another gospel in the Old Testament? It has a fancy Latin term coined by scholars, which is called Proto-Evangelium, or the first gospel. And it also points to a genealogy 2 chapters later, which spells out the entire gospel story of Jesus Christ documented in the Gospel of Matthew. Today we're going to explore these mind-boggling understanding from the book of Genesis, where the term Proto-Evangelium is found in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. And here's the verse. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. In this first gospel, a prophetic war is promised to be waged between your seed and her seed. The word your seed in Hebrew is zarach. It's a common masculine singular construct. And the term her seed is zarah. It's also a common masculine singular construct with a feminine ending her. In other words, it is one seed of the seed of the serpent against another seed, or the seed of the woman. But how this generational warfare will be carried out is still a mystery until we reach Genesis chapter 5. Now, Genesis chapter 5, for most casual Western readers, is just a bunch of names, and many will just quickly flip to the next chapter because the lacking of interesting details. But this is where the real interesting details start to surface if one only knew what was written in Hebrew. And this is indeed one of the most profound mysteries hidden in plain sight. First, by casually glancing through this chapter, he has listed 10 Hebrew names, from Adam all the way to Noah. But before we get into these names, it is important to know that a name in Hebrew does not mean just a designation of a person. It carries a verbal meaning that sort of prophetically spells out the purpose and the calling in that person's life. So one of the most famous names in this list is Noah, and it's spelled with 2 Hebrew letters, Nun, Het, which is connected to a verb, Chana, Het, Nun, He, which means to rest. When one takes the name of Noah and change the order or flip the letters, we get the word Chana. So let us take some time and go through these names. The first name on the list is Adam, and the Hebrew name is Adam, and it means man. The second name is Set. Hebrew name is Shet, and it means appointed. The third name is Enosh, or Hebrew name is Enosh. It means mortal. And the fourth name is Canaan. Hebrew name is Canaan, and it means sorrow. And the fifth name is Mahalalel, and the Hebrew name is Mahalael, and it means the blessed God. And the sixth name is Jared. The Hebrew word is Yared, and it means he shall come down. And the seventh name is Enoch. The Hebrew name is Hanoch. It means teaching. And the eighth name is Methuselah, and the Hebrew name is Methushalah. It means his death shall bring. And the ninth name is Lamech, and the Hebrew name is Lamech. It means despairing. And the 10th name is Noah, and the Hebrew word is Noach, and it means rest or comfort. However, when one connects all these names together, it forms this phrase: man is appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down, teaching that his death shall bring the despairing rest. Isn't this phrase spell out the entire ministry of Jesus Christ in the Gospel of Matthew? And let me point out the importance about this genealogy of Adam. First, if one counts the years between Adam and Noah, it spans approximately 1,000 years, and there is no way that any influence known to man can do this. Secondly, can you imagine that from this one generational lineage, that every time when the parents are naming their child, his name forms part of this encrypted message hundreds of years later? And third, who else but God can cause this to happen? Therefore, Moses tells us in Exodus, "Who is like you, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, fearful in praise, and doing wonders?" And fourth, and probably the most important one, is that these names fulfill the promise of a Savior, that the blessed God shall come down, teaching that his death shall bring the despairing rest. And we know from Noah to the time of Jesus is approximately 3,000 years. So after about 4,000 years, and indeed the narrative about the seed of the woman, Jesus Christ, through God's own proclamation of his first gospel in Genesis 3:15, and Jesus' death on the cross has indeed defeated the seed of the serpent. And this is just to let us know that the salvation message you and I receive today has its origin in Genesis 3, proclaimed by God himself, and is prophetically documented in Genesis 5 through these 10 names. And also, did you realize the preciousness and importance of the message of salvation is through Jesus Christ alone? And it all started all the way back in Genesis chapter 3, right after Adam and Eve sinned. In Genesis 5, 2 chapters later, the salvation message has already been proclaimed to the entire known world at the time. And what an amazing God we serve. Hope you enjoy this precious gemstone, and we will see you in the next episode of Unlocking the New Testament, Ancient Hebrew Gems You Never Knew Existed. Shalom Aleichem.